Hey, what's going on, guys? The HG Gundam Wing team is finally complete here with the arrival of the Shenlong, and it's a pretty awesome HG. Anything you can want out of an HG Shenlong kit, it's got it. Let's go ahead and get right into the review. Alright guys, so let's start off by taking a look at the box and its contents here. We got some awesome box art here on the front. If you're a fan of the Shenlong, then you gotta be loving this. It's looking very cool. Obviously it's dragon arms doing its thing, blasting some fire. Very nice and very detailed illustration here with the little lighting bits and weathering and everything. You got the sandrock and the death scythe there in the background as well. As you can see, it's not that thick of a box, so it's a pretty simple HG kit here. 242 in the HG line. And here on the bottom of the box, we gotta look at how the kit is going to look when it's all painted up, front and back. Actions and gimmicks over here. Obviously it's got the extending arm, it's got the beam glaive with its very cool looking effect there for that. And then a little bit about the gimmicks of articulation, how well articulated it is. I'm sure it's going to be very nice as it's a new HG kit. Going around to the other side, we got some information over here in Japanese and in English, and a very cool image of the Shenlong right there. Popping open the box, you can see got a few runners in here and our instruction manual. Pretty standard HG instruction manual here with a very large image of a painted sample kit there, which is very nice for your reference. And then over here some information about the Gundam. One question for you guys, does this look more shiny than normal? It seems to me that the sample build here in the manual is more shiny than they usually tend to be. It looks like a little bit more of like a semi-gloss coat on it when usually they're in just like a matte finish here. So that's kind of interesting, different. On the back side of the manual, some more information here about the Shenlong Gundam and its different weapons and accessories. That's all in Japanese and in English. If you want to check that out, the Shenlong shield, the beam glaive, and of course the dragon fang there. Down here at the bottom, we got the same information on the outside of the box there, and the color guide down here at the bottom. Pretty basic colors here for this guy. And speaking of color, the last two pages of construction are all in color here and very colorful with all that stuff going on about how to use the arm extensions and everything. But on the inside, it's all in black and white, where we have the parts list and the majority of the construction right here. For our sticker sheet, it's fairly minimal, just stickers for the eyes and head cameras for the Gundam there, the chest little triangle, the eyes for the dragon head, but unfortunately we also have these big green circles which are going to go for those like jewels, those big rounded circles there on the front of the shoulders. Very unfortunate that that's not a separate part, and that's just going to be stickers for that one. Also got some polycaps here, PC002 in gray. Runner A1 and then A2, which is cut off from right down here, is in 4 colors. You got red, blue, clear green, and yellow on here. Runner B1 and B2 are in a kind of lighter, warm gray color here for all of our joint mechanical parts, hand parts, weapons parts. And that's continued on to runner C here. In case you guys are wondering about the runner marking, runner B here is marked Gundam Wing Frame. Runner C is marked Shenlong Gundam. So no mention of the Ultron or anything like that on the runner markings for these, but we can still hope. Here's runner D1 and D2 are going to be our last runners, and obviously just all the parts there in white. Alright guys, and here is the kit all built up. I gotta say, it looks great. It's nothing necessarily really groundbreaking. It's your pretty standard HG for the modern times. So you got some really nice color separation in there, some nice details, and overall it's a good looking design, really great looking proportions and everything, I think. There may be a couple small nitpicks and we'll get into that, but overall it's basically anything that you would want out of an HG Shenlong kit, I think. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. We'll start off with the elephant in the room, and that is just going to be the stickers here for the green half dome jewel parts there on the front of the shoulders. Nobody's really happy about that. I know some people are gonna be like, oh, stop crying about it, it's an HG, of course it's gonna have stickers. Yes, although I tend to agree with that point of view. That's kind of silly to complain too much about stickers on an HG kit. In this case, those really should have just been separate parts. It's such an integral part of the Shenlong's design, and they're large enough that it really could have been just two like a half round clear green pieces they could have put on one of the runners for that. I have to imagine the only reason why they didn't is because the shoulders are symmetrical, and if they would have done that, then they would have had to have mirror pieces rather than just copies of the same pieces. So honestly, it seems like a cheap and lousy way to save a buck, but other than that, we do have some nice color separation here around the torso section with just having that one little sticker right there in the center. Of course, we got stickers for the eyes, the head camera as usual. You also have stickers for the eyes on the dragon head there. For our accessories, we've got the shield here, which just plugs right onto the side of the arm, but nicely detailed on the front and the back. Nice and sharp detail on there. And on a very positive note, we do have some hand options. Aside from these standard holding hands, we actually have open hands for the left and the right side, and an angled holding hand, or a thumbs up hand, I guess, however you want to look at it, but an angled holding hand for holding its weapon here. The beam glaive is held right here on its back. It just pops right into there. The effect part looks really nice in there. I think that's a good looking weapon, definitely. The only other accessory we have here are these two little extension pieces for the folding, extending arm. And on that note, let's take a look at some of the articulation. So the head, I will say, is kind of weird how far like the forehead points forward and the back of the head points back. It's a kind of very interesting sloping head design. If you have it pointing forward like that, it looks a bit weird, like it's sort of like a weird meme. From the front though, it looks pretty good. Of course, you have little safety flags on the ends of the V-fin. The head will go up to about there, down to about there. Nothing too crazy, pretty standard for an HG. In the torso section, we do have some very nice ab crunch forward and back, and there's a really interesting gimmick, well, a couple of gimmicks. One is that the whole torso section lifts forward and actually lifts up the back skirt at the same time, so that joint actually extends there in sort of like the waist section. The other thing is that this red part here in the front and center will tuck up into the chest when you bend that forward, so that goes up into there just a little bit there like that, so that that part can get out of the way for getting a nice good ab crunch there. The regular arm works pretty standardly. You can rotate that up to about there. Forward and back are gonna be a little bit limited. You do have a seam line on the white part, but that blue part is one solid piece that fits around the shoulder there. That's pretty nice. You've got rotation at the top of the arm and a double joint at the elbow, giving you a nice full bend there. The hand is just on a ball joint. Now over here, this arm is going to extend out, and the real question is going to be how well is the shoulder joint going to hold up the weight, because that simple ball and socket polycap joint there could give us some issues. But there's the extent. You can fold that dragon claw down, and the bottom part you can fold that out like that, and it looks pretty cool. And then of course we have those extension pieces you can use in between there. We'll see how that looks in a minute, but just at the regular extension, it does look pretty cool. The front skirts are connected, but you can clip those apart to separate them if you'd like. Those will move all the way up nice and far, no issues with that, so you can bring the leg all the way up to the front. The hip joint will swing forward and back there, and one interesting thing to note about that is if you have it extended all the way back, then the leg can't point like straight down because it's kind of blocked a little bit up there. So if you wanted the leg to be straight down, doing depending on what pose you want to do, rotate the hips forward a little bit, and then you can actually point the leg down straight farther. But our side skirts will just move up and down a little bit there like that. Our knee bend is double jointed, just like with the elbows, and you got a pretty nice full bend there. Lots of nice detail here around the legs, but they are going to be pretty plain, just being all white. Down here, this quite large, bulky ankle armor will move along with the ankle. It's actually connected into the back of the ankle joint, and you do actually have a little bit of a toe bend here, which is pretty nice. Not necessarily standard for an HG, so that looks good. You can point the toe all the way down like that, all the way forward like that. The toe bend doesn't bend upwards, I should say, it only bends down. But up underneath the feet, you have half detail, half hollow gaps, so it's kind of it's okay. But let's get into some posing, and I'm happy to say that the arm is not really giving me any weight issues at all. Now that's just from my own experience for right now, for this time being. If you were to put the arm in a fully extended pose and then keep it there for months and months, I can't say how well it's going to hold up over time. But at least for now, it feels pretty solid. It doesn't feel like it's like about to fall down at any moment, so it feels pretty good, I gotta say, and that's pretty awesome. And overall, the articulation is really great on this kit, so I feel like any pose that you might possibly want to do with it, you should be able to do it without any issue. Whether you want to have it standing on the ground, it actually stands pretty firm. It's got some pretty solid feet. Obviously, putting it up on an action base allows you to do some really cool aerial poses with this as well, different kind of action poses. It looks really great. And one question that you guys may have is, if you bought two of this kit, could you make it symmetrical with either like two regular arms or two dragon arms? And the answer is yes, you could. Sort of. I think it might take a little bit of modification in the forearms, especially for like the shield connection. Like the shield connection is only on one side, the dragon connection is only on one side. So I think to basically build the forearm parts in the opposite way, like for the dragon side, and then just getting rid of the shield connection point shouldn't be too much of an issue. So it would take a little bit of modification, I think, probably, but ultimately you could make, the arms symmetrical if you bought 2 of the kit. But let me know any other questions that you guys may have in the comment section down below. For now, that just about does it for this kit. Like I said, it does everything that you could possibly want an HG Shenlong kit to do. I feel like the only real kind of unfortunate thing is just those green stickers on the front of the shoulders. Other than that, there's really not too much else that I could complain about with this. It looks pretty nice. The seam lines are pretty minimal, and the sticker is also pretty minimal, except for those ones on the shoulders. So I think Bandai did a pretty good job on this one. But let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think about it? And of course, if you're interested in checking out the kit for yourself or anything else from Bandai, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store. We've got all that stuff there for you guys to check out. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you'd also like to like or subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. But until next time, hope y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye, guys.